Generic greetings and welcome back to Prison Architect once again. In the previous episode we started and indeed finished this entire cell block here. This is where we've got one big row of cells followed by the shower at the end and then going back the other way, another row on the other side. So it's fairly compact, it's fairly efficient, but it's got no frills, it's got no extra things in it. In fact, it doesn't even have warmth, which is something I'm going to try and sort out in this episode because we need to have this place fit for prisoner habitation because we want to get prisoners by the time we get to the end of the episode. So we need to make sure we've got all of these sections walled off and make sure the doors are on, put some extra buildings in, and just generally expand things like the canteen, the kitchen, so they're actually useful. So let's crack on with that. Firstly, we're going to go over to the canteen and make sure we finish this off. So we'll go to probably quick build and then clone. We'll copy this thing here and then we'll place it down. Then what we'll do is we'll double place all of these like so, and actually what I'll do is cancel because it's not working properly. The clone doesn't copy the planned place stuff. It only copies the stuff that is actually bolted down to the ground and whatnot. So we just need to wait until I've finished that, which shouldn't take too long. And then obviously we will go back to clone, quick build, make sure that's all selected, which it is. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, done. So, we've also got the grants on the top left as well. As you can see, we've got the visitation rights, we've got governmental security ratings, and cell block B. And cell block B is 50 prisoners. We should get that. I think we're going to get all 3 of these, probably. Are we going to do that? Actually, probably not. We're probably not going to get these cells done. Sorry, we'll get these cells done, but we're not going to get the other blocks done this episode. We're probably going to get all of the other stuff and then get prisoners in and then see how it goes. So we'll go for probably governmental security rating and visitation rights is probably the way to go. So let's get some phone booths in first. So we're going to go over to objects and then to phone booth, and then we can place phone booths right down here if you wanted to. Or what people have suggested is something like this. You go to the let's have a quick planning here, walls. And then plan something like this, which is going to be a toilet area. All this will just be a row of toilets, and then you can still have your phone booths around this area. I like that idea. It's probably a little bit too big for the toilets, but we'll see how it goes. We'll just place these in and see what happens. We will try to put a door on, but I reckon putting a door on will break it. Yeah, you can see the doors do actually break the gap here, which is very strange. It didn't used to, I don't think. They didn't used to break this, but these are now canteens which really can't be used at all. So we're just going to have to dismantle these here, and then obviously we will go back over to the canteen. And then we'll connect these up, because I'd rather have it connected up than, well, what it is now. So we'll connect that up there, and we'll connect that up there. Job done. Obviously, we then need to go over to the toilets. So we'll just type in that, toilets, and then we'll put the toilets all the way along like so. It's probably too many, as I've said, but it is what it is. We don't actually have to have these toilets assigned, right? So if we just have it something like this, right, that will actually function. There will be, the toilets will be usable. It doesn't have to be assigned to anything particular, but the difference is that when you have an eat time and people come into the canteen to eat, they will actually go down and sit and eat and all of that, or they will use the phone booths in there if they don't want to eat. Anything else in the canteen designation, they will actively seek out and use. So if it's assigned like that, then it's much more efficient than what it would be if it wasn't assigned, which is why we're going to do it. Okay, over to phone booths then. Obviously, big row of phone booths down both sides here, which is also a grant as well. We can put stuff in the middle, and I think it's probably going to be just another row of phone booths across there, and then like that. Make sure you have this straight entrance all cleared up. Anything to the centre we want clear, but for the time being, that's enough for the needs to be fulfilled. We do need 2 TVs, a pool table, and a common room, so we haven't got those, so I'm probably going to put it on this side here, which means we do have to put some foundations in. We do have more than enough money to put in these foundations. I'm going to put all of the foundations in on these sides here, as you can see, because we just haven't done it, and also we need to crack on and do it eventually, so we might as well do it now. And good grief, it is absolutely hoying it down. Look at that. That's a lot of bad weather. It's 0 degrees, so there's probably going to be a fairly decent need for warmth. Actually, no, staff morale is at 100%, because if we have a look at our logistics and temperatures, you can see that where people mostly are is quite warm anyway, so that's fine. While I remember, over to utilities here, and we just need to connect up this thing with the very large radiator. The water boiler with a very large pipe, and then obviously we're going to connect that to radiators that will be in here, which is something we'll do in a moment. Actually, what I need to do first is run that up like so, and then into there. And then obviously go over to objects, into the sink, and then place a couple more sinks. And while we're on, we might as well do the fridges as well. Just checking on the right, we can see that our power is completely fine, because obviously we did plan very early on that we're going to have, you know, a problem with expansion. So I just went out and placed all the capacitors anywhere, because otherwise I would just forget and then it would just be a nightmare. So there's all of that, and it will be connected up with the fridge freezers and stuff like that, so that's fine. Obviously, we got our exception put in. Hang on, reception. It's just covering over the R there. We got that put in, and that's all fine. Toilets are not yet plumbed in, so we might as well go ahead and do that. Very, very simple task. Just go straight up like so. Obviously, the yard has not got anything in there as well. We do need to put things in there, but at the moment, I'm just going for the grants. There has been some comments about this room. I did place this in here for mainly the water boiler, and I said we could use this for anything, but we just haven't done anything with it yet. Being a couple of comments, most people saying this could be a cleaning cupboard, but not really, because cleaning cupboards are only used by prisoners. It's not like laundry, whereas laundry, if it's in an open area with prisoner access, they can work there. If it's not, then your janitors and workmen will work there, as far as I'm aware. The cleaning cupboard can only be used by the prisoners, so it means that they will not be able to come in this way, so there's no point, and instead the janitors will just go around their janitorial duties. So yeah, we're not going to have that. What we do need to do though is go to security, so we're going to have a security room in here, and then in this one we'll have an armory, this end one will have an armory, and then finally we want a kennel, there we go, in there. So kennel, very easy to resolve. You literally just place a dog crate, which still does not have any polarity as far as I'm aware. Doesn't show you what it is. The weapons rack can't be rotator rated, so we're just going to put it on the corner like so. Table will go on the bottom, and then obviously guard lockers can go up the top like so. We haven't put any flooring in, and that is on purpose because it costs a lot of money. I know there's been several times when I've tried to go ahead and make it so the rooms are finished before we move on, but because of the size of it, because of just the overall planning, it's just not possible at this stage, so I'm just having to leave it for now. Either way, we're going to go for a door on this corner here, and I'm probably going to try and get it in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, there's the middle, so that'll be where the door goes. Same thing on here, it'll be 1, 2, 3, that's the middle, and there we go. Obviously there's other stuff that we need to place, like the walls and such, but for now that should get them done, and then they'll immediately become an actual building. There you go, there's the building on this side, and then this one will also be placed. As soon as this door's on, it should just go all the way across, but we do need to go over to demolish walls and demolish a little section here, because it's just not right. We should have to have an entrance here. There you go, it's now demolished. Excellent. So they're going to go and place some lights in there. Some of them will be useful, some of them won't be. Obviously, there is an auto light function that I do keep on. One of the things that I always wanted, and then when they brought it out, I enjoyed, I like the ability to use it, like to turn it on and off, but in reality I don't think the implementation is as solid as I wanted. What I want really is an auto light ability. So you literally click on auto light, you click a room, and it will determine the size of that room, and then but it'll put lights in the most efficient way possible, instead of you placing something and then auto lighting it, which obviously you get things like this, which is all perfectly fine, and then you go to the times where, well, as you can see in here, it is completely pitch black and not acceptable, which we will now light up. So all of these are fine. This isn't lit up, so we do need to put some lights in there. Again, around here, these are not lit, so we'll put some lights in just to make sure that the corridors are actually, they've got some sort of light in it, because it looks very, very silly otherwise. There we are. Okay, so we'll go over to utilities and then to electrical cable. What we want to do is have probably a spine of electricity going straight up like so. Probably don't need to do too much to it. It is pretty much a simple matter of going like this and then putting in sections like so. The reason we have to do that is if we don't, then we cancel those. Then we won't be able to light either side. If we run it along here, we'd still have to run it up as well, just because they are on the opposite side. So yeah, this is probably the most efficient way of doing it. Let's go over to a water boiler, and we're going to place a boiler in, I don't know. Some people have suggested that we put the water boiler in here, like that. It just makes it easier for the guards to go around here, and I do agree with that actually. I think that's a fairly decent decision. Just means that we'll need to seal it off, and the best way of going about that is, I don't know, maybe fences there and there, but that means you can't search down there. So maybe having the water boiler here is a better idea. I don't know. Some people have also suggested putting it in the shower, but that's a terrible idea because there are always fights in there, and if that kicks off, then we will have a lot of issues. So we're not going to do that. It's either going to be here or it's going to be here. I am leaning towards the outside because then the prisoners don't have access to it, but it does mean, as I said, the dogs will have a problem. So I don't really know what to do. I'm not really too sure. Also, the implementation of this pipe is slightly wrong because I was going to go along and then up and then have sections coming off like so for the hot water and the cold water. But that's almost doing a full loop to the center, and more efficiently, it would be more efficient to go straight up the center and then expand off like that. But if I did that, I'd still have to run this pipe here because the large pipe here only just allows the small pipe to reach these bits down the bottom, which admittedly we might be removing at some point, but for the time being we do need them. And we have to run this one along because, well, it's closer to this. So in reality, we're probably best on just following on the original design. But I still need to know where this water boiler is going to go. I could place it in the center. That's something I didn't think of, actually. We could place it in, say, like here, and put a wall around it and have like a separate building for it. That could be done. That could be a thing. And it means that you've only got one water boiler for each side rather than a water boiler at each end. That's actually a better idea. And it means less power. Right, it's going to have to be that. If we don't have it like this, then it's just going to be a bit annoying, to be quite honest. The only way to go about it then, I think, actually is to make a building. It would be that size. It would be tiny as a building. And obviously it's also going to block off access around the other side. I mean, we could do it that way, perhaps. But then even then it's off to one side. So what's the best way of doing it? Could we put it in the shower? No, not ideally, no. I think the original idea of that is the way to go. It does mean, however, that there's... No. I like this row. This row here is good. I'll come back to it. I'll think on it for a while. Okay, so let's get our common room up and running. So this is going to be a common room. So we'll go to common room. There we go. And there's a couple of different types of common room you can go with. Sometimes you want to stick with one that's, say, I don't know, one that's just got televisions in, someone's just got phone booths in, ones that may just have chairs and tables for like the alcoholics group therapy, things like that. I am probably going to stick with a universal one where like everything's in it, and in order to do that, I'm just going to see how many of these pool tables I can fit in. I mean, you can place these right up against the wall, but it always bothers me somewhat that's something you would do. You wouldn't stick them in the corners like that. It just wouldn't be, you know, even though in the game it makes no sense whatsoever. Let's place 3 of them along like that, and then we'll have a couple of televisions in here. So I think it's one there, and then one there, I believe, is the most efficient, and then it's something like that, and then that, and then... Oh no, we can't have it there because of how close it is to the door, so it's going to have to be that, which will be that, and that, and that, and then if we put the television back in there, we should be about right. Okay. Let's see how that one fares out. We've just got that grant done, which is fantastic. We'll go over to grants once more, and we'll pick up another grant, which is probably prisoner acclimatization and engagement. And then we'll go down the bottom. We need to see, we've got security, we've got kennels. We'll go over to security, and we'll go 1, 2 dogs. And we'll go over to armed guards, which we have 1, 2. There we go. And then obviously we'll go to deployment, and then we'll have dog patrols. So actually I might as well assign the dog patrols now. There's no reason for me not to. So we'll have a dog patrol going up this way, like so, and we'll assign one there. And we're going to do the same on this side, because these are going to be the standard dog patrols that we'll have constantly. So there's 2 dog patrols, which is with the grants done, and we need to do the armed patrols as well. So the armed patrols will be probably around the centre, and it's very, very difficult for you to see, but there is actually some planning stuff here that we might be able to see. Nah, it's very, very difficult. Armed patrols going down, and there is some contrast there. It's extremely difficult to see, but there is actually some contrast where I can see the proper edge here, which is, there's the assignment, there's the grant. 51 grand in the kitty, and then we've got max sec infrastructure, which is unlock things like tasers, CCTV, that sort of thing. So I'm going to get that because it gives us a nice boatload of cash, and we will be going for that eventually anyway. Okay, so we've got all these in. We haven't got the walkways in. Would be nice to have those, so putting in those would be a fair amount of money, I think, but since it's going to speed up the guards' walk speed and health and other things as well, I think it's going to be worth it. So we'll place all these in, like so. Obviously, it's going to be straight along, straight across, back and forward. You get the idea. It's going to be everywhere where, in fact, I've planned it, you know, because I've actually planned out the walkways this time, which is quite rare. Normally, I don't bother, but we've got them all put in here, so that should be about it. We will extend it to this side, and the yard is going to be the standard concrete stuff, and then the rest of it, the walkway all the way around, is going to be grass, just to give it a bit of contrast. Although we could go for like a dirt. So we've already got dirt, but we could go for a sand, which will give it nice contrast as well, but that's more of an aesthetic choice that we might do later on. Okay, so in terms of the cells, most of them aren't even lit, so we're going to probably do that. Let's check our power requirements. Power is fine, although, admittedly, when it comes to power, we might have a bit of an issue there. Because we're a third of the way, and we haven't got all of our cookers in. We've only got one of these. If we put lights in all of them and we get the rest done, we're going to have a big problem. I've also not got this centerpiece lit, so that's something I want to take care of. So let's just run stuff right across either side like so, and obviously into there as well, just to power up the morgue. That's going to light all of those up. Then we'll have guard towers, I'll have stuff like that. The thing is, I am actually bleeding cash now. I'm losing 3,420 generic units of currency per day, so I need to make sure that we get this prison up and running sooner rather than later. That's annoying. That light isn't powered. Let's do a direct connection there. So, pausing it for a second while I think about where we're going to put this water boiler. The water boiler boils water. We know this for a fact, assuming it's turned on, you understand, and the laws of thermodynamics have been observed. But what else can we do? Well, we need to place it first, and I still don't know where to put it. Utilities, water boiler. No, that's not looking there. We know it's a 2x1. So where can I place it? So you could place it, and this is a possibility, placing it there, right? Place the water boiler in the shower. Now that has some advantages. Firstly, it's easy to place. Secondly, it takes up one space. Thirdly, it generates a lot of heat, which keeps people warm in there. Probably too hot. The shower will be too hot for them. But disadvantage, it has a direct electrical connection. Shower is a prime candidate for violence. If they kick off and they beat up that boiler and it breaks, guess what? You've got a high voltage, highly wet surface, and a lot of people will die from electric shock, which is something I want to try and avoid if possible. So, it's still very, very tempting to put it in the centre. That will give me enough to go to the end into each radiator and such. But that then does mean that these aren't wide enough. So the solution could be to shrink the shower down by one on either side, increase the central straight, so it would actually be this. Like that. And that. So you still got two either side like that. You still need access to this, obviously, so you would have to have... Well, you could have access in here, like that, which is offset slightly. Or you could have access in like that. So how many would you be able to fit in? 10 or 7, 12. So that... But then actually if you did that, you'd get 14. So that is the way to do it. And then you've got the gap, and then it's more efficient, and it works. The problem is that it blocks line of sight for these sniper towers, which is what we're trying to avoid. No, we can't do it. I want to do it. I think it's that's the most efficient way of doing it, by far. Having it in the center, then pair it off either side. The problem is simply that it defeats the point in doing this. We want these to have a line of sight all the way up and down all of this. You put big blocks in here, they're not going to be able to see over the top of it. Going to really negate the effectiveness of these. So we're not going to do it. So I need a solution. I don't know what it is, but I'll figure it out by next episode. By all means, if you have any comments, suggestions, etc., put them there, and we will go from there next episode, which we will actually get some prisoners next episode, I promise. As always, hope you have enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.